but I just haven't done it.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. And it looks like you're still sharing your screen, right, Beth? Okay.
Good. Yeah, I am still sharing my screen. And so this, I believe, is the only one we have that's at this stage. I think that Gary's is the only one we've got, unless, are other people back?
Looks like we've got Abigail, Gary, Nico, Robert, Sergio, and Zach.
Okay. So at this point, what I'd like to do is make sure that everybody's, well, we've got some of the nines that we were looking at, Project 9 that we were looking at in here. And we looked at a couple of those last week. That's when, and so if people are still working on those, then we'll have a lot to look at next week because things are really coming down to the wire. So I'm not seeing that we have these two examples from Gary are very useful because they show quite a bit, and then the Nico's examples as well over here. These two designs, again, and this is what you were talking about. Let's see. Acrobat, distiller, is that it? This has only got distiller in here. John, do you know so we don't have a Acrobat in this. I guess we don't have that. John, I was looking at are you muted?
No, I hear you. And
Okay. So
what were you looking for?
I'm trying to, when I open up the PDF, it opens up like that.
Yeah, what is with these small PDFs? I don't understand.
So Gary was saying that if you open up in Acrobat, but we don't have Acrobat here. I'm looking at the CC. We have Acrobat Distiller.
Actually, let's see. Oh, if you have that installation that I'm seeing, you should have Acrobat. Have you checked your applications folder?
Well,
if you look in your applications folder, see if it's under Acrobat or Adobe.
Yeah.
It should have installed with the other apps. So
it should have, and it should appear on the. It's just Distiller application.
Distiller's not going to help. Wait, there's Acrobat, right?
Yeah, I was just saying I saw the application. So
there it is. So
I'm trying to put it on the.
Don't you have Acrobat running? Yeah, put it in your dock. Oh, isn't it already in your dock? No, is that?
No, that was Acrobat Distiller, which is
Oh,
a
okay.
different thing. So now it's running, and then I went to File, Open, and go over to the desktop and get the two designs and open up the PDF design, and there we are. So just like Gary said, but we didn't have the Acrobat was not pulled out onto
There you go. Yeah, that looks good.
this is what I was after. So those pictures, I took screenshots. Does everybody, well, maybe it's different on a PC if you've got a PC, but on a Mac, it's Shift Command 4 to get a screenshot of something, which can be very useful if there's something else isn't working. Okay, so so now we can really see what's going on here. So I do have some things that, so Nico isn't here, but everybody else, you can be aware of these things. A couple of the things were the same as what I mentioned for Gary's. The quotes here should be deliberately hanging out from this alignment. So in InDesign, you have a special place that you can go for that. Now, I can't get into this in InDesign, but I'm going to try something here. I'm just going to copy that and see if we can open up, just create a new folder here, or new, and just say create. And then so this one's on the next line. So in this one, if you have type above this, or this line is broken right here like that, then when I click on this right here and then go to type, and this is something, if you're listening to me, it would be something to be writing down so that you can remember it's here. So type story, just two things. And when you click on story, it's giving you optical margin alignment. And so that is something that when you click that optical margin alignment, it hangs the punctuation, it hangs the quotes. And this is the desirable thing that you want to know about. And this is a treasure right here in InDesign that has a little shrine built for it by graphic designers. And they go out there and they worship at the shrine of the type story optical alignment. And you want to know about it. It's not like some trivial little thing. But I think odes and short stories have been written to the wonders of this little feature here. And
pilgrimages.
yeah. And something else, so we talked about this. So a dash is, we have you've got one of those that shows us, but you have an, let's see, Command Shift, I'm blocking here on the, okay. So that is an N dash, I believe. And if this were part of this paragraph, so I'm going to get up here, and I don't have a delete forward on this keyboard, which I didn't know I used so much, but right here, I want to go back there, and I want to go back here, then I go to Shift Enter like that, and that should actually be part of this optical margin alignment, but it's not. So that one you would have to do. So this is the the M dash that you'd want, and you might then in this case need to uh, it's not liking, I'm going to just do that and do a hard return here, and then do okay, so shift option greater than is an M dash and an option hyphen. Option hyphen is an N dash, and a shift option hyphen is an M dash.
Right.
So which one is which?
Shift option hyphen is the M dash, and shift option, I'm sorry, option hyphen is the N dash.
Yeah, and N is in not so good, and M is in mostest bestest.
N is in not so good unless you're doing a range of numbers or dates. That's what the N dash is for.
But this is the one for quotes. This is one for attribution, for the name of the person. And then when you do the name of the person, you want to make sure that the name of the person is honored by using probably
you could italicize it, or
well, I'm going to just show you one of the, so there's a Cochin italic is pretty stunning. And if you didn't know about it, you really ought to know. This is an italic that's hidden inside a low X height, a serviceable body text. Cochin is a sweet little body text. And if I were to put this in Cochin, you could, I just won't talk about it. I want to show you this is part of your education. So Cochin regular, low X height. This is one of the serifs with a low X height. What does that mean? So let's just copy this and paste it down here and do a little comparison. So if I wanted something like, let's get another, I don't want to use times, but Garamond, that's still pretty low. Well, if I go ahead and use times, times regular, you can see that the X height of times is considerably taller than the X height of Cochin. And so these typefaces are specially designed so that they would have the same leading, but lots more air between the lines, which leads to more readability. So you can get more type in at a smaller size or at the same size and have it be as readable, but you have more readability when you have an extra. So this space in here is, and this is the sort of thing that I want people to start seeing when they look at a page, is actually being able to see a point difference in size. So that's ultimately, as you continue doing this work, like anything, you become kind of an expert in. If it's in construction or parquetry work, if you were inlaying hardwoods and ornate designs, that you can't be flopping around as far as how you fit things in. So this is something that's not quite so solid, but it's nevertheless, for reading purposes, these are some of the important things that you want to be aware of. And so this was times. I don't think that times has such a great, yeah, so italic. So I can run through here and just cruise my cursor. Is everybody seeing this? Is anybody seeing this? But I'm
yeah.
So I've got I'm running the cursor down and not hands-free, not, I'm just coaxing the mouse whatever you got there. And so I've done that. Now it's not a bad italic, but it's not gorgeous. So those are things to familiarize yourself with, and be aware that you do have, or in here, yeah, so for, oh, it's back there somewhere. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about noticing. Okay, so that said, maybe I'll just cancel that and just might want to use this again. So I'm going to just do that and take a look here. So that said, what we were talking about before is that the DM1 projects doesn't need to be quite so loud there. So DM1 projects can be DM1 down here. It can be under, over the moon. Well, this is going to be under the moon, which I guess is the opposite of over the moon. I was really under the moon at, with the birthday party they gave me. I don't know. But make this under the moon and a slightly darker shade of the purple background, or pick up the blue shade that's just above it, the dark blue, and put DM1 down here, or even way over here. Projects, these are, it's okay to put projects, but I would just leave out as much type as possible. So I would take that out, and then I would bring the DM1 low and to the right, and do all the things up here with the quote and the name, and leave your name the same size, and it's good in a good place. And then these I would do in a contrasting font, so I would make them all small caps in this weight, but small. So I knew I was going to have another opportunity to bring that back up again, and it's supposed to be down here in the doc. So all of these things that have to do with contrast, I'm going to get bye-bye type story. So characters, so you would have characters like that, and look at your particular type, and sometimes you can see what these are. It's looking sort of Garamondi to me, or class one type. Okay. So I'll just do a, and it can be bold, but it can be small, and then it can be small caps. Now this may be fake small caps, which is not it's a bad thing if you mix it with regular caps, but if it's just make fall caps, you can do like that. So this is small caps. Again, the default is always this dreaded 12. I'm going to have like a big t-shirt with this on it with a big slash through it. Do not use default typesetting. Just because 12 over 14.4 comes up doesn't mean that it's good. It just became a tradition, and it's not a good choice for most body text. It's too large, and the leading is not easy to work with because it's a fraction and it's like lame. Nobody ever uses it. If you go measure a professional publications, I'm sure my 12 over 14.4 not t-shirt would be very popular in publishing circles. So Well, that's a calling I'll have to wait till retirement to appreciate. Then right next to it over here is this element, which is tracking. Tracking. And tracking spaces out your letters so that if it's all you have to read, then it's prominent, it's there, it goes with your name. It's upper and lowercase is like, hi, we're here, because it's got a lot of this going on, but this is small caps. Actually, this is small caps, this is all caps. This is small caps. It's just even, small, strong. So then you would using that, you would go in, and I'm trusting to something that, well, these are all going to have to be separate anyway, so I might as well do that. So I'm going to copy that and make another text string and paste that in there. And then when I type colors like that, it's a little spacier looking. And then I'm going to, since this is a preview of something that you're going to need to be doing, I'm just going to go ahead and do this 3 like that. And this is so that they all look the same. So it's not a good idea to have 5, 6 different typefaces and colors with the buttons scattered all over your image. So that as a design element, it doesn't, buttons or bullets don't read that way. There's something that you want the controls all to be in one place so that you click the one you want. So if, for instance, the controls for my Zoom stuff, that mute and all that I've got on, if they were scattered all over the page where I had to go search for them, that's not good. So it goes back to the place where you're going to put your home. So this would be the typeface in this case might be a little bit separated, or you might do like that. And so you would have them and you spell check. And so that you want these all to look like they're the same kind of thing. Not that they're, oh, they take you to special places because one's got stripes and one got polka dots, one's yellow, one's blue, all of that kind of stuff. So we've got, and so then this is a preview, as I said before, and let's just do this in a separate one and copy her. And so this is how this is a preview. So we've got, there are 3 students here. How many students do we have here? 6 students. I can't see everybody in my little.
We have 6.
Yeah, 6. So this is a preview of what you would be doing for next week. Is you'd be picking your page, the one you want to use, and I'm just kind of arbitrarily picking this one. And I can't open it in InDesign, which is unfortunate, but I'm pretending that I'm now working on the buttons. So you need to have the buttons be all together in the same text frame. So I'm clicking on the text frame and then double clicking on the edge. This is something that a student showed me, because I would grab this and I'd go like that and sort of push in on the edge like that previously and then go, okay. And the student said very politely, Beth, you can just click on that. You can just double click on that part right there. And I said, so I learned, so I'm teaching you guys what she taught me. So I want to, and if I want these to be in the center like this, then I can select all of those like that and go to Command B. Command B is another t-shirt. Command B is the lifesaver that lets you put your text at the top of the frame, at the middle of the frame, or at the bottom of the frame.
Good old vertical alignment.
And it's vertical alignment, and it's really, really important. So I'm going to do Command B, and it takes me up to vertical justification, and I want these all to be hovering in the center because I want the text frame to be, let's try it and see if we can do, well, that one did. This one didn't. Yeah. I didn't really lie exactly. It just looks like I did. If I make it a little bit bigger, okay, when you cinch it down, it doesn't cinch it down to the justification. So that's good to know because it's the text frame that's going to be active, or the type itself that's going to be active. So you don't need to have a big thing out here for your button. You just need to have enough for people to click on. So then now you know about Command B. So then you would be working with your buttons like this as individual elements. So and you wouldn't need to have projects be there. So I'm going to just try something here. And so I'm going to make a frame like this. And I'm going to try to make it, I'm going to see if I can eyedropper. I've never tried this before, so it may not recognize, no, it won't recognize anything over there. So I want to make this a color that's sort of like the background. Again, this is what you're going to be doing next week, is getting all of your files out and get down here and move this in a little bit. And you're going to be separating when you decide on which home page you're going to have. You need to make buttons. They can't be all in the same text block. So that in order to be selectable, actually don't have to do this probably till no, I think we're going to be getting to this next week. So that's going to be an important thing. So I want to go and fill this with a, no, switch those. And then I want to go in and so look at another color here. All right, so I'm going to make the color here. So cyan, a little more cyan, all the way to magenta, and then something like that. That's probably no yellow. And then I'm going to click OK, and this is supposed to be filled with that. Oh, I didn't have it selected. So okay. What's going on here?
It doesn't like what you're doing somehow.
I know. What's going on here?
Sounds like Periscope's down.
Yeah, your
It's
submarine is
like
sinking.
I mean, it's like a continuation of that diving.
Oh, you know why? Because you have a dialog box open that says that the color thing on the right. You see that?
Oh, this one.
You have to close that dialog. You have to close the dialog box.
Yes.
The dialog box rules all. There you
Uh,
go. Now you can do what you want to do.
it was hidden under the
Yeah.
Zoom stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I know, I just couldn't see it.
I
And
saw it.
so this one is, I went to send it to the back. So I'm going to go to Object Arrange and send to back. And so I've got my colors there. And I probably want this tint to be a lot lighter. So I'm going to go in here and make it a little bit more, and it's probably bluer, but that's okay. So this is, at this point, uh, more like what we've got down here. And so again, the reason I'm using, the reason I'm using the, this font here is so that it agrees with the name. You could decide that this font should be a sans serif that's a little bit more low key. Then at this point, you could try to change that, but again, I want this to be something like 11/13 or 11/12 or maybe 13. So if I wanted to make these others the same, then I should be able to go and click on that one. And in the old days, you could click on the eyedropper and the eyedropper tool and go and get this type. Yes. And then, so I can, I need to click back on the type tool, click on this. And then the eyedropper tool used to be the letter I. And so I'm going to click on that now and eyedropper that. So I'm going to now select this type, the type tool, and then press the letter I. Oh, that's not going to work. No, not while I'm selecting type. So I'm making these all smaller. So you want to set them all, you can set them all up like this beforehand and then cut them apart into buttons, cut them apart into buttons. So they're all separate, cut apart into buttons. Okay. And they are what? What was I doing?
You were selecting these to make buttons.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm a little bit worried that maybe others didn't hear that. And I'm using these tools and methods that I'm showing because it's important for you to be aware of them. As in, it's teaching and learning stuff right here, right now. I just want to make sure that I wasn't talking to in here.
I'm absorbing all that you are saying, I promise.
That is very good, Gary. I am so proud of you. Yeah, well, you're going to get it. So anyway, these could be, you would want to be aligning these somehow. So if you're aligning them to something, you would want to bring that guide over. If you are going to have the other three over here by design, you might be bringing that guide over here, and then you'd be putting them in whatever order they are, your actual order, following your main chosen homepage that you're going to gussy up next week from whatever you have going this week. But you have to turn in the first two first. And so in this case, oops, Command Z, I'm going to Command L and lock that back there. You want to, let's see, if you want to evenly align these in between each other, I'm not sure what that is, but I think that it's fitting. No. John, do you remember what this is? Vertical alignment, evening the space between the alignments.
No, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
If I want to make these all evenly spaced,
Oh, to distribute the space between them?
yeah, I've forgotten what menu it's in.
It's not in that
Not
bar. It's not in that.
fitting. It's
Let's see.
type vertical alignment.
No, I think it's under. It might be under object. The object menu.
I did.
Did you look under the object menu
Yeah, I
next?
just did that.
Are you sure that's where it should be?
Text frame options. No, it's even alignment between items.
No, I think it's under object, but it's hard for me to
Can't
see.
be.
Arrange.
Arrange. Nope, that's the
No,
layers.
not it.
What's under content? Under or no.
I can see it in my mind, but I can't see it in.
Yeah, I thought it was under object.
I think it's typed though.
No,
It
are
is
you
object.
sure? I don't think
No,
it's.
it
I
is
think it's
an
more object. It really should be under object. What's under transform? No.
We'll remember it right after we all go home. Text frame options.
Are you sure? Text frame.
No. Insert spacing. No.
I'll find it.
Well, anyway, there's this wonderful thing that helps you align these, and I'll send it in an email just as soon as I find it and remember it.
I was kind of kidding about Command B, but won't that actually allow you to do that if you have everything selected?
Command. It might be under Command B.
Well, I thought it was. My impulse was to select these all.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe,
I think if you have a
select
group
them.
selected and you hit Command B, you're given that option. Alignment on the bottom of that window.
Yeah, but it's distribution. It's the distribution of multiple things. It's a little bit different.
Gotcha.
Yeah. This aligns them to the bottom of the text frame. And I'm aligning objects with even spacing.
It's under the align panel, it says here. So let's see. Where's the align panel?
The align panel has to be.
That's what it's under to distribute objects. Where's align?
Type align.
Nah, under window, do you have an align?
Window align.
I think
window
that's
align. It. Yes, it's in here. It's in here. I know.
What about objects and layout? If you go further up, no, it's not there. No. Align. What about align? If you go to objects and layout to align.
Objects and layout to
and then align.
Oh, it's got another.
See if that gets it.
Distributed spacing.
I think that. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. And this is just I just always do it, so I don't remember it. So this is distribute spacing, and this is distribute spacing vertically. So see what happens. It will see the top two, and it will put the middle one right in there.
There you go. Yep.
So I'm going to write this down.
What was that? Window align or something like that?
It's window align. Window, no.
Window align.
Window align. No, that's not the.
No, window object and then align, right?
Object layout, then align.
Window object layout align. That's how you get there. Yeah, they hide this stuff. It's impossible to figure it all out.
And they have different names and different, so, and then align. And it's F7, so that would be, let's test it for the next one. So I'm going to just let go of that and just pretend that I'm going to put this one up here to match that. And then I'm going to go to press the F7 button, and it brings it right up. F7, it brings it right up. So if you take a note of any of those F keys, as it were, you would, so I'm just going to, I think I knew that before. So when I press F7, while those three are selected, then it did come up before, but it doesn't now. So I guess object, oh, Shift F7. Shift F7.
Shift F7, huh?
Well, it's got an up arrow. So this is a really useful key. So right here, if you're looking up here to align, if you're seeing this on my screen, that's Shift F7. An up arrow like that is the Shift key. And it's not, oh, then you have to go.
I don't think the up arrow is the Shift key.
No. So it's a multiple step thing then.
There you go.
But because you are dealing with individual little elements, separate objects, you can't do it with leading or alignment that has to be done with type that's adjacent. And
Yeah, it's not necessarily a type thing. It's an object thing, really.
And we're doing these as objects because why are we doing these as objects? Go back to a half hour ago.
Because we're making buttons.
We're making buttons. No, it sounds like one of those things. Yeah, sitting there making buttons. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing.
And you have to sew them on the code after you make the buttons.
I was going to say, I still got an old button press from the day, man. We can make some real buttons here.
Then are going to respond to your code that you use to align them. This is bothering me. Characters, Command B, I want it to be aligned to bottom to look like the others. And then I would have to move this up. So again, if I want it to be aligned like colors, then I would need to move it into place like that. So having buttons that are scattered all over the place, like confetti or something like that, for interactivity, that is not a good thing. So if my little row of buttons for my mute and stop video and share and participant that's in my Zoom panel here of options, if they were all over the screen and I had to chase after them, then it wouldn't be very useful to me. So buttons are an interactive element that you don't sprinkle around like confetti. You want to have them be predictable and aligned and easy to find, and probably easiest if they're close together in the same place. Maybe not laterally across the whole screen. So those could be considerations in terms of planning for your interactivity. The way we have the project set up, where you pick the one, the version you like the best, and work it up and put all the things that you like best, maybe about the other one, you combine, make the single frame that you're going to be using. When you're considering that, you want to be looking at where you're going to put your buttons. So that's going to be something that is knowing why you're putting them, where you're putting them, is going to be important then. So looking ahead for interactivity, you're going to be creating buttons that look all like the same thing, the same kind of thing, and that they take you to a place where the item is located. And So when you have these kinds of things, you want to keep them low key and in the same place, and focus on the big design that's happening in using other elements, but not for your buttons. So that's just a look ahead where you want to have these, you're going to have them separated like I'm doing now, and then you're going to be writing the code that connects them to the pages they go with. And so that's what happens after you get your home page all decided on, get your buttons all set up. And so this is a look ahead for anybody who hasn't got the home page decided on, about thinking about where your buttons would go. So you want them to go in a local place. And if you wanted them all to be, I'm kind of curious to see if I changed my mind about these. If I could get into type, I have a feeling I can't get into type and change these like this, but oh, I can. So I can select the object, and if I wanted the typeface to be a sans serif, I could do that. Just, so I think that needs to be typeface. Or maybe, what could I do to make those separate, but not quite as separate as they were? What is the term that I would use to separate those letters a little bit more?
Do you wish to separate all the letters, the space between all the letters evenly, or just space
No, I
between
wish
two
to
letters?
separate just the two letters, E and A.
Well, we know what that's called, don't we?
Oh, well, I hope so.
Kerning.
That's right.
Thank you.
Kerning.
I'm not quite turning here.
To everything,
Yeah,
kern.
turn.
There is a reason.
Oh, man.
And a dime for every porpoise under.
It's Peter, Paul, Beth, and John.
Well, at least you're tracking what I'm saying.
Okay, well, that.
I don't want you to space out or anything.
That is.
Ah,
That didn't work so well.
It's a special type of pun.
Yeah, yeah.
man.
Special puns.
Sorry, I'm a character.
There's the Master Bible of Term, and then there's all of the little subcategories, and this is the typographic one.
I'm just a font of puns.
Typographic people or punsters, it's just, it gets worse and worse. The more professional they are, the punnier they are. Okay,
After so many hours on Zoom, I get punchy.
Okay, if you say so.
And we are actually, by the way, getting ready for break time. Just so you know.
I had that feeling. It's when the puns start flying around that
Yeah.
feels like it's time for
It's
break.
12 after, so it's good. We're in that range.
But this was an important lesson, because in the past, this isn't done until people have their final page done, and they come back and they're all like, thank goodness that's over. And then we start this thing, well, but you've got to, all of your buttons need to be activated now, and you've got them all over the page, and you need to separate them and put them in a special location. So these can be relatively small, so it could be that you, again, I'm going to try this thing of, I don't know if the type style, oh, I'm not sure if that's going to work. But if I go to type here, and I go down to 11, now it only does the first one. So you want to make sure that you have all of these set up type-wise beforehand. I'm still not sure that that might not work. So I'm going to just click on these 6 with my direct selection arrow and see if I can get the, yes. So if I click on them with my direct selection arrow, I can tell them to be 9.9. That's not the right place. 9 point. Try that again. So I'm going to back up a little bit more and get to here and then do it from here. 9 point. Yeah. So they were kept in position for the most part. I was able to change the style. I was able to change the point size. And now I want to go see if I can change the color, and I have to get my little window here out of the way. Change the color and make them all white. No, it's not going to find the type that way. So if you want to change the color at this point, anyway, you want to get them in the right color before you go in there. And it looks like you can change the typeface and the size, but you want to get most of the details of these done before you cut them apart to make them into separate buttons that are then manageable. So that's something you'd want to do. So I'm going to make these all.
Got a couple of quick questions, if I may.
Yeah.
You mentioned the character, typeface, resolution, color, typography, and animation. They don't need to be in any particular order, whatever suits you?
They should be in the order of your projects.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so they should be 1 through 6, just like you called them out.
Well, ideally, you want to have your project, if you want to change the order of your projects, they were in this order, I think, because of the order in which they appeared as assigned, with the characters, then typography, then typeface. But if they're in a different order, then you put these in the order. So if you have typeface here and color here, so if you click on characters and then it takes you to the 6th image in your selection, it's kind of illogical because it.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about not having the links work. I just mean, can you set the different 6 projects in any arrangement you would like? Or do you want them to flow as the projects flowed in the course?
Oh, you can, if you decide that they should flow differently, that would be good. Then you would make these that would go back to saying that these would be in the order of the projects as you actually arrange them.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Like a table of contents. What's first is first and second and so forth. So
yeah, I just wanted to verify if you had the preference, making sure the coursework stayed consistent.
So if the order of your projects was this way, so if it was down like this, again, this could be ambiguous too. So you might want them to be a little bit smaller and all be going in this direction. But my point was, you don't want them to be in a kind of be the spokes in a wheel whirling around on the screen. As though that's another guidance system that I'm sure that would be very understandable to a lot of people. But just keeping a visual logic going about where things are. So if these were going across like that, have them go all the way across, or I still think that having them in a located space so that when you come back, you don't have to hunt for them exactly on at the home page. I think the home page should be as devoted to the design of aspects and not to the buttons. And so these would be maybe all close together over here, like however order. And now we can see, get to that elusive window, and it was objects and layout, align, and oops, window, object, layout, align, and then even them all out. So I've got them all selected here, and so that it distributes all of the information between the objects and not the actual types. So if you've got your type aligned top, middle, and bottom in different ones, it's aligning the top, middle, and bottoms of the frames, not the type. So you need to align your type to the bottom of the frame or the center of the frame so that this alignment all comes up looking even. So that when I do Shift W, they're all even. Not in the center of the frame. Then these make a really easy system for your interaction. People can see the order they come in. They don't have to chase around over the screen for them. And then you would be putting your 6 pages in this order. And if you change the order, then you just switch the order around up here so that that would happen. But normally we sort of follow the pattern. But as you say, you can arrange them however you like them, your project. Because if you feel like they are particularly strong in a certain way, it's like anything else you compose out of different parts. They have a flow. They have a character or a feeling that you might want to have a grand finale to it, or you might want to have a wonderful entrance, something like that. So choreographing your frames is going to be, or your project is going to be a little bit different. But this was all primarily about what you're doing at home when we're not there to remind you about creating the buttons and making them so that they're not the main characters in what you're doing. So in this case, the name of the course, which is the very least important, the word project shouldn't be there at all, because that I think that shouldn't be there at all. But these words right here need to be in such a way that they're in the order of appearance and that they're evenly spaced. So if you're going to do them laterally like this, you want this to find one space and make sure that they're all spaced the same way, so that this isn't bigger and this isn't narrower. All of those spaces have a subconscious meaning in terms of relative importance or that kind of thing. So you'd want, or that they're different. So you'd want to try to make those buttons look as much the same as possible. And I think that it's probably time for a break.
Oh yeah, we're a little overdue for a break.
Okay, let's then do that. And then we're going to come back and look at customizing your page.